Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Lions have just gone down to Leinster 21 points to 13. In personally, what I think is one of the best Lions performances we have seen this season, which some people will sit there saying, well, how can you even begin to be proud of a performance where you lose by 10 points? But for the first time in this year, basically, for the first time since the Stormers game, a Lions side rocked up and looked like they wanted to be there. They looked like they wanted to play. And they gave Leinster a real good go, you know. I mean, 1 point at half time. I don't think the Lions were ever in a position where they were going to go on to win the game. They never dominated the game. They never looked like the better side. But what they did do is look like a side that belonged in the competition, you know. And I think that Leinster, whilst I'm very aware of the fact that it is not Leinster's first side, that he can basically change almost every single player on the field and add an Irish international, and it would be a very different story. However, I do think pound for pound, player for player, Leinster probably had more quality out there tonight, and yet I thought that especially the Lions youngsters, which is pretty much 95% of the team, really stood tall tonight, and there was a lot to celebrate as a Lions fan. And that's where the frustration comes in, because you look at that team and you sit there thinking, there are so many good young players that if you just added 4 or 5, you know, like Springbok players or world-class players into that side, they'd be a really good outfit. But they just don't have that experience. You know, you look at the Bulls and they've got their Marcel Coetzee and their Arno Boerters and their Bismarck du Plessis and, you know, their Ambrose Pierce, their Morne Steins, their Jan Goossens. You look at the Sharks and they've got their Siya Kolisi, the Kanya Ams, your Makazuma Pimpis, your Thomas the Toys and Oxenchair and Mongi Manambi. And the Stormers have got your Damien Willemses, your Warwick Halance, your Stephen Kitsos. The Lions just don't have those 4 or 5 world-class players who can stand up and do the grunt work and allow the youngsters to express themselves. Instead, it's a young side with the youngsters almost dragging some of the experienced players along. So overall, I'm quite happy with that, because I think that it's an impressive performance from a lot of individual performances, which I thought I was very happy with. And if we look at the game itself, Lions missing 2 early penalties through the boot of Jordan Hendricks, who started the game off quite slowly, if we're quite honest. But grew into it, I thought. You know, got a lot better as the game went on. But unfortunately, a set move off the line meant the Lions were behind 7 points after just 8 minutes. A fantastic move eventually saw Dave Kearney going over in the corner. And that was worrying, because before the game, we knew there was the potential for this game to go south pretty quickly. And when you score in the first basically 5 minutes and it looked so easy, you're sitting there thinking, hang on, this could get ugly. But the Lions managed to stay in there. And, you know, penalty in the 12th minute, penalty in the 36th minute. Leinster were very sloppy in the first half, far too many penalties. And the Lions actually ended up with more possession across the game, which is very unusual for this Lions side, especially against a side like Leinster. But unfortunately, it was a 5 minute lapse which took the Lions out the game. You know, a try by Michael Alatoa in the 47th minute, followed by a try by Jamie Osborne in the 50th minute. You know, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. You know, you go from being in the game, and the ironic thing is that we were actually on the attack, but couldn't capitalize. All of a sudden, under pressure, 2 quick tries, and you kind of up the game. The Lions didn't give up. They kept trying to push, and they got better in the last 10 to 15 minutes. They just didn't seem to have enough of a plan to be able to get through the Leinster defense, which was pretty impressive. But the one thing that the Lions had the entire match was a dominant scrum. Carly Sardi was absolutely, and Steve Storley were dominating that Leinster scrum. And give them their credit, Ruan Dre and Morgan O'Dear came on, looked pretty good as well, apart from the free kick right up in the 5-meter line where the Lions looking to try and score a try off it. The try actually came from a Leinster scrum, and Ruan Dre absolutely decimated his man. Morne van den Berg picked it up, inside ball to Jaco Creel, and over he went. But it was too late, you know, 78th minute, far too late. So the Lions miss a bonus point by just 1 point. You know, losing by 8 points is frustrating, but the Lions made Leinster work for it. I think that was quite a positive. So if we look at some of the stats, the Lions dominated possession, 59% to 41%. They beat more defenders, 30 defenders to beat into 8, 3 clean breaks, more offloads, but unfortunately 16 turnovers conceded. Now, this is an issue that I was having with the Bulls earlier when I thought they weren't playing particularly well. Breakdown in South Africa is a little bit worrying because the ball retention is a bit frustrating, and even some of the handling. Far too many knock-ons today in the Lions' performance, especially in crucial moments where you're really getting yourself into a good position and then making the knock-on. Now, we talked about defenders beaten. Leinster, when they did make the tackles, they made their tackles because they were asked to make 66 and they only missed 5. Lions were asked to make 138 and missed 25 tackles. And that's the frustration. You can't be missing 25 tackles and expecting to win games. 3 conversions to 1. Penalty goals missed. The Lions missed 2, so they left 6 points out there. So I think there was one kick that Jordan Hendricks should have gotten, and that would have put us in bonus point territory. If we look at the breakdown, Lions winning 62% of the rucks, decent mauls as well. But set plays, line out continues to be an issue for the Lions, and it frustrates me because how is there such a big aspect of the game that is a problem across the union? The Lions lost 2 lineouts, Leinster lost 1, 4 scrums apiece that they won. Lions lost 1 scrum, but generally the scrums were one-way traffic. They were pretty impressive. Leinster discipline was pretty terrible, which allowed the Lions to stay in the game, but also, is kind of what halted the Leinster from trying to get that bonus point. The fact that they didn't get a bonus point, they'll be kicking themselves because this is a Lions side which to date have not performed particularly well. So I thought that Leinster didn't have their best game. A bit like the Bulls didn't have their best game against Zebra. But there's so much quality and they're just generally a better side. They don't necessarily have to have the best game. They play like that against a Munster or a Glasgow Warriors in the format they were in, for example. I think they get punished. I don't think the Lions quite have it in them to be able to punish sides to that extent. But I did think it was a much improved performance on the Lions. Big players, Tommy O'Brien ripped the Lions apart all night long. Him and I thought Jamie Osborne as well were a real thorn in the Lions side. They created a lot of space. They beat a lot of defenders, and they were very, very effective. I thought Josh Murphy looked pretty good. Dan Levy was quite good around the breakdown. Rhys Ruddock was very active. For the Lions on the attack, I thought that Monde van den Berg was a revelation at scrum half. He just changes the game when he plays. He just injects so much pace into it. He's an exciting scrum half. Sometimes he makes the wrong decisions, but he should have had a try. He made a fantastic break. He had the inside ball available for the van der Merwe. He didn't realize it, didn't take it, and we didn't score. But I thought that he changed the entire game. Other big players, I thought that Jaco Kriel led from the front. A couple of turnovers. He topped the tackle charts for the Lions, missing 2 tackles, making 14. Ruan Venter, I thought, was absolutely sublime. For a 19-year-old to go there, he bounced off James Tracy. He sat down Rhys Ruddock. He looked really good. For somebody so young, he looked so comfortable at this level. I think that the Lions need to start learning how to use their backline more. They got the likes of Wendisi Similani and Edward van der Merwe, but they just don't know how to release them. I thought Kieran Horn looked very impressive. He looked very settled. I don't think he did much wrong. I can't actually think of anything he did wrong. Defensively for Leinster, Rhys Ruddock was immense. 12 tackles, none missed. Dan Levy, 10 tackles, 1 missed. Michael Alatoa, 15 tackles, 1 missed. James Tracy, 11 tackles, 1 missed. They made their tackles. It was very difficult for the Lions to break down Leinster in the sort of tight phases. When it got a little bit loose, Monde van den Berg had some success getting in between a couple of players, but generally the Leinster defense was quite hard to break down. So look, for Leinster it's another victory, and that's probably the biggest thing. But they'll be sitting there going into this, knowing that this victory puts them on top of the table outright. Munster can't catch them; they now go ahead of Ulster. But they would have been thinking this is a chance for 5 points, and they didn't get it. For the Lions, frustrating because there's now a gap. There's a big gap between them and Scarlets. They've got 2 points and 2 games at hand on Scarlets. They're 5 points behind, and they've got a lot of work to do because they haven't been able to pick up those losing bonus points. And that's the biggest thing. If you're going to lose matches, you have to pick up losing bonus points. And the Lions keep coming close, but not quite being able to get there. But let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.